So before we start this article, I do have one question. I want to see everybody vote yes or no on this. Algo interview questions. Yes or no? I'll give somebody a maybe. So in general, it looks like most people don't think we should be doing algorithms in interviews. Now, I probably have a slightly different take on this one than y'all. So let's see what they have to say, okay? Let's let Mike cook. Modern software development is a spectrum ranging from deep algorithmic work to system design. The majority of software development happens between that range. Most developers work on application development, which is closer to system design than its low-level algorithm. Okay, fair. Most software development interviews are for jobs somewhere between application development and system design. Yet many interviewers do technical interview rounds for algorithmic challenges and system design. Nothing in between. The assumption here is that if you can solve algorithms and do system design, you have the skills to develop applications. That assumption is flawed. A broad range of skills is needed to develop applications. You will not get them by just practicing 100 hours to recognize specific algorithm problem patterns. You won't get them by staring at overly simplified systems design of Netflix, Uber, or Twitter. Who takes the time to say Threads? Who even wants to be on Threads? Ew. Threads is just a bunch of pictures of dudes in boats. That's like my experience on Threads. I don't think I want to be on Threads. I really don't need that. Netflix mentioned, let's go. By the way, I work at Netflix, by the way, if you're wondering. Your application development skills by, well, developing applications. But many technical interviewers do not assess those skills. I don't know. Something about system design really kind of helps you know how much experience a person has. Like if I asked you to build like out in boxes and arrows and describe how you'd build a good CLI application, I think that you can really tell how much CLI application development experience somebody has by how much they know about how you put together those pieces. I don't know. To me, that seems like a pretty obvious signal. You really going to hit me with that paywall right now? You're going to hit me with that paywall in front of everybody. Oh, but it's one of those scrolling paywalls, classic scrolling paywalls. Okay. A typical set of interview includes 2 algorithm rounds, a system design round. 66% of technical interview is dedicated to something you will likely code less than 1% during your entire career. I know, defeated that blocker. I've been doing software development for more than 2 decades. The only time I studied algorithms is for fun. Difficult challenges can be fun in your free time with no pressure when no pressure exists for an interview. Oh my goodness. Okay, can I just continue reading? Oh, there was a button there the whole time. There was a button the whole time. Didn't even see it. They appear in the corner of my actual work. I use libraries that is battle tested without specializing in that kind of work. There is no way I could improve upon them. Very few people learn algorithmic development on the job. It requires hours of personal time to practice enough of them to be useful in an interview. They are not relevant for most developers. Okay, so I agree with this take. Right now, I agree with this take. I, too, use libraries that are battle tested, such as LeftPad. Ah, you're a connoisseur of fine libraries, I see. Do you use is even or is odd? This is a real question. This is a friendship test question. If I don't see the right one, you're out. Say it. Say it. If they appear in the course of my, let's see, actual work I use, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Algorithm interviews get false signals. Okay, so I do want to let this guy cook. We're going to let him cook before I give my opinion on these things. At least that's what I said, so I'm going to give my opinion on things right now. So absolutely, I do agree with this sort of. I think it completely depends on what you're building. I think if you build more CI stuff, you really just deal with 0 algorithms. I think if you build, if you're just making React shit, you're not building anything. If you're building just like CRUD endpoints, you're probably not doing any algorithms at that point. But if you're building, say, CLI tools, if you're building anything in the tools world, which is a lot of stuff, you're dealing with that a significantly higher amount of time. And it is completely, like, it is a good signal to know people know some of the requirements because there is a lot of useful stuff in there. And so just something to think about that, you know, when people make these really broad strokes, what I see is that they don't necessarily know. Like, they haven't done all the things, and so they don't know. Algorithm interviews get false signals. Algorithmic challenges in an interview signal only one thing. You practice algorithmic challenges enough to recognize the pattern and solve them. It says actually one more thing than this. So this guy's already incorrect right here, which is it says one more thing. You are wise enough and capable enough of learning things that are difficult such that you can pass some arbitrary bar that has been set in our industry. I think that is a very important signal to understand, because if you don't If you can't do those things, it means you are just intentionally saying no to the system. You're either too dumb or you are skill issue, right? You either have skill issue or you are just completely lacking in wisdom and think that it won't happen to you, right? Like, I don't want to be on that side of the fence. When somebody gives me one of these problems, I want to show that I've put in the time, I've learned the secret handshake, I've high-fived it, right? That I've just done the right thing. Either you don't know that it exists, which one interview will teach you very quickly that they ask you hard questions, or B, you're intentionally saying you don't need to do them. Okay, if you don't need to do them, why would I want to hire someone that wants to kick against the system? Real talk, why would I want to hire someone like that? You say, hey, I refuse to do it, and I think that if you ask me those questions, I won't hire you. Okay, so you know we're going to ask you something. I've given you the literal key to the door, and you don't want to open the door. Okay, that's fine. Find somewhere else that has a different door. Go for it. I'm not upset about it. Just go somewhere else. But they do not signal general development skills. Fair, very fair. They say, well, sort of. I also have a hard time believing this as well. I think that in the rare case of someone being ultra amazing, that means they've spent only their time doing that. But in the general case, if people can do this, I think that they have enough programming sauce to be able to do most things. They signal pattern recognition and preparation more than they signal problem solving. That's literally problem solving. What? That is the definition of problem solving. What's your problem? I want to get hired. How do you get hired? Learning how to do this. Well, that doesn't signal problem solving. I solved the problem of getting hired. I have some level of wisdom by focusing on one's ability to solve algorithms under extreme pressure. I don't think it's extreme pressure. I mean, it's just like you're on a whiteboard having to draw some stuff, and nowadays it's mostly in code signal with an editor that kind of looks like something you're used to. I mean, is it really extreme? I mean, is it extreme pressure? I mean, is it extreme? It seems a little hyperbolic here. You ignore other factors necessary for application development, the biggest being the candidate can turn business requirements into a solution that solves a business need. Yes, that's called a different interview. So you set aside 1 hour to really test how somebody would kind of develop something. You ask them the questions. You have a problem. You want them to solve it. You don't make some shitty way of making them kind of forcefully asking you out questions. You just start talking about what you want to build. You hear them jam with you. You help guide them, and you can kind of test that they understand how to build software from a requirement standpoint. Like, that's not that hard of an interview. In fact, that's a very fun interview to perform, and it's a very fun interview being a part of. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of nutty to say that you can either have either or. How about both? Besides, AIs can already do that better than humans. Yes, I mean, sort of. I give this example way too much because people just say these things, and it's just so wrong sometimes. Here, TS tests. There we go. Give me the quick sort. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go like this. Function quick sort. Numbers. Number this thing and number that thing. All right, Copilot, go. Okay, yay. I give this example a lot because what they just did here, quicksort is an in-place sorting algorithm. What they just provided me is a massive copying algorithm. This ain't it. This is not even quicksort by definition. Yeah, it looks like quicksort. It does all the things quicksort does, but it did it completely incorrect. Okay, this is slow sort. This is stupid sort. This is like merge sort. You've pretty much written me merge sort, but almost dumber in some sense. Okay, so do they do it better than humans? I don't know, okay? I think that that's kind of an arbitrary point. The best case, you find a candidate that productively develops applications. In the normal case, you find candidates that studied algorithms well enough to pass the interview. In the worst case, you alienate many candidates that do not perform well with gotcha-type algorithm questions. I do not think it's a gotcha. Long as you don't do something stupid, right? There are people that do gotcha questions, but most algorithm questions aren't gotchas. They're just not. They're just think through the problem and show me you can think through a problem and solve it. Such a candidate, let's see. Questions such as candidates with neurodivergence. That's everybody's favorite word, and it's a complete bucket. It's a bucket word to make an excuse. Oh, you don't think I got some level of neurodivergence? Okay, you don't think that I am not socially awkward? You don't think that by thriving on the internet / programming that I am not diverging somewhere in the brain? Well, guess what? I probably got some weird brain worms going on upstairs. And guess what? I can still do it, okay? It's just ridiculous. People that say this, they always throw this out there like this is just like anyone can say this word because you can't argue with someone. I'm neurodivergent. Oh, no, you're not. Prepare to meet my lawyers. Like, what are you going to do? You can't challenge someone on saying such a phrase like this is a catch-all bucket to avoid questions. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. How many people in here call them, type 1 in the chat if you think you're neurodivergent. There's a lot of people that think they're neurodivergent. Our field is probably primarily comprised of people that are just a little wonky, okay? I mean, let's just face it. Every single field is filled with people that are a little wonky. Is there, most of us probably have ADHD, maybe ADD, if that is even a real thing, or is it just an observation of different type of human behaviors? I don't even know. Right? I've definitely got me that word dyslexia soup going on. You know, I just don't like the hard part about all these phrases is that you're everything is on a spectrum. That's the problem. Everything is a little spectrum. Now, I've met people that are truly suffering from real, like deep Asperger's all the way to like full blown autism. That's like very, like you can see that they're going to struggle in life. And those people I genuinely feel bad for, and they really deserve some extra special things. And those are things we should take care of and really treat well, okay? And we should really provide them a place to flourish, and we should try to make that possible. And it's not going to always be possible for everybody, right? It's very, very difficult. But most people I meet that say they're that way, they're not that way. They're just socially awkward. They just spent too much time playing World of Warcraft and not enough time talking to a human, and you've just lost the skill. That's all that is to it. You just haven't practiced social skills in your whole life, and now it's difficult. Of course it is. Of course it's difficult. Social skills are just like any other skill. You never practice typing, you're not going to be good at typing. You're going to feel awkward trying to type. Is this a personal attack? No, it's not a personal attack. Well, maybe it's a personal attack. I feel called out. I know. There are real people here with real problems, and hey, if you're here with a real problem, I'm most certainly not talking about you. You deserve real considerations, and I would have no problem given real considerations. You know what I mean? I am full support of that. It makes me feel like I want to cry thinking about those people because they, you know, like I can't imagine all of us come into life with some level of something that's fighting against us, right? I got no dad, right? I didn't get those things. I had a different set of things I had to fight against. Plus the whole dyslexia part really made things kind of hard growing up. Always been terrible at English. English is the only class I failed at. It was very tricky, but that's a different set of problems, right? Feel bad. Anyways, alternatives considered. So what should you do instead of algorithms in interview? Create tests, more like what you'd expect a developer to do regularly, which are skills are essential for work. Yeah, but then you could argue that do people, again, these are just also not good either. For example, focus on getting signals for interpreting business needs, functional requirements, and non-functional requirements. This is good to measure for. Break down complex projects into manageable tasks and steps. This is good to test for. Application design patterns. Maybe good to test for, depending, right? But you also have to know, if you have to play around with some arrays, is this person going to totally the code base, or are they going to be good, right? Like, you're kind of dropping this whole programming is a skill thing from there. Evaluate is worth automating. Again, this all should be done in a simple interview, reviewing code effectively and understanding the benefits of this process. Okay, that's a cool code, and I think that's always a cool one. I've had those as part of my technical interview process, which is tell us what this code is doing. Comparing trade-offs between threading and async for server construction. I mean, that's kind of funny that you say threading versus async because, I mean, really, you technically did and didn't say the same thing, right? I think you're having a language issue here. This sounds like too much JavaScript brain. Identifying opportunities for performance optimization in code. Debugging and resolving issues in a given piece of code. Refactoring code for improved readability and maintainability, integrating APIs effectively in software applications. Like, a lot of these would be extremely hard to do in an interview. Now, they're definitely possible, but there's definitely some difficulty here. There's some good stuff. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do these things. I think these are great. This is why I think a lot of people try to do take-homes. They try to do take-homes so they can give the person an opportunity to show what they do, show their application development chops. You know what I mean? I do agree with that. Reading code is a different skill than writing code. And I agree. A lot of people think take-homes, they're a waste of time. I hate take-homes. Like, some people hate take-homes, some people love take-homes. I think it's largely where you're at in life. Right now, if Google said, come be a ELV69 with us right now, the Primeagen. But before you do that, do this take-home. I'd say, I'm not going to do a take home. Yo, dog, my life is too full. I got like 4 kids and a beautiful wife. I'm writing courses for front-end masters. I'm streaming and I'm doing a full-time job. Yeah, that ain't happening. I'm not doing a take home. Sorry. It's just not something I'm doing. If you want this, I'll give you 1 interview. That's what you got, just because I'm in a different stage of life. Now, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, which Netflix did, they said, here's a take home. You want to guess what I did? Oh, take home. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're going. We're going as fast as I can. Like, I tried to build the greatest take home ever. I was in a completely different stage of life. It's just different, right? Unsure of where to start with such a test, Coding Challenges is an excellent resource for challenges to fit these requirements. Should I learn algorithms? Study algorithms will make you a better developer. I remember, kind of seems like maybe then if studying algorithms make you a better developer, maybe, just maybe, this entire article has been debunked. What? What? Why would you do that? Dude, I feel like I'm being trolled. I'm just saying that if you think studying algorithms will make you a better developer, if only there's like a simple way you could test if they know algorithms and have put in the time. Right? Just maybe if there was like some sort of test, maybe a whiteboard or a computer could be included. Ambiguous gang, rise up. Dude, definitely a masturbator here, dude. This is ridiculous. All right, let's keep on going. By the way, I hate this take. I hate this take at the bottom of this take, okay? The reality is that, yes, studying algorithms will make you a better developer. Testing for algorithms gives us one of many signals to know that you are a good developer. I still want to see some sort of algorithmic type kind of challenge problem for you to do so that you can prove to me that you got the chops to do it. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do like find a cycle in a singly linked list, right? Like, to me, that's uninteresting. I'd much rather try to find something that's a bit more complicated. Like, here's a good one. Here's a great one that I think is a great one, right? Say you have a schema that has a property name, and this thing has, like, say, a type that's a string, and maybe we give them a types as array or object or string, number, blah, 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 blah. And then you have the value, and this thing has, depending on the type, it will give you, like, or it could have a type, right? It could have, fields. Fields could exist if it's an object. If it's an object, it has a fields, which is like a recursive property, right? I'm just kind of spitballing here, so this isn't a fully fleshed out one, but you get the idea. And then I also have a value, right? That is an object that is a bunch of objects that have property names, and it is either going to be the value itself, which, like, if it's a number, it will be 69, or it's going to be something that's like an array, where it has all the values in it, and I need you to convert that into the object for me if it's of type object, right? Like, try to build something like schema building. Great exercise, right? Sounds like an OCaml test. Yeah, I mean, I've had to do this at my job. Schema builders. I had an entire team not figure out how to do that, right? This is like basic encoding, decoding, right? Doing some sort of encode, decode. Like, this just shows you can work with things, right? You understand data structures. Another good one is just implement merge deep. Or deep merge, depending on whether you put the deep before or after the merge, right? Like, I think this is a great problem to watch somebody work through. I want to see you do that. Do it. Show me you understand programming, right? That shows me you know how to do pretty much everything, right? Did you upgrade your camera? I am looking fine. Yeah. Deep merge, deeper merge. Wait, you had a team that couldn't figure that out? No, I had a team that gave me that as a piece of data. I literally had a schema somewhere, and then I had a compacted data format in the database, and nobody knew where the decoding was. I asked several teams, and people are like, we don't know how it works. I'm like, dude, this is your team, this is your database, this is your UI. How do you display this in objects? And they're like, nobody. I had like 15 people in a Slack thread all saying, I don't know. So I built the gosh darn dang thing myself. And I just said, F you guys, I got the schema, and I got the object. F you, I'm building it myself. So I built it myself. It took like a day. I got it all right. Built a couple unit tests. Called it a day. Walk a go. Just F y'all. I can do this shit. I just didn't want to do it. I just wanted the NPMI, some stupid schema I've never heard of, version latest. Duplication, sometimes you duplicate, right? Sometimes you Bill O'Reilly and say, we're doing it live, right? All right, anyways, let's go on. If you're applying to jobs that have algorithm interviews, you have two options. Refuse to do the algorithm interviews. I think that honestly, I think this makes you look childish when you do this. Real talk, I think this makes you look childish in the sense that if someone sends me a take home, I will just say, I don't have the time for this. I'm sorry. Like, I cannot spend a full day doing a take home plus a full day doing an interview. I can provide you guys one day, right? That's like a time constraint. That's not a real thing. I'm not refusing to do something. I'm just saying I can't spend 16 hours interviewing for a job. It's just not feasible. Whereas just saying I won't do it at all, like I'll give them an option. How about this one? I will do the take home, but I'm only going to do 4 hours of interviews. Like I need it to fit into one day. That's that, right? But just refusing to do it at an interview site seems a little wild, right? Right? It just seems a little wild. Learn algorithms and practice them in an interview-like environment. This is great advice. You should always do that. You should always do that because regardless of you, even if you refuse, let's just say you refuse number one, you should still do this. The reason why you should do this is that communicating out loud your ideas, especially to somebody else, is a skill. It is a skill you should practice because at some point, whether at a job interview or in front of your coworkers, you're going to have to go do something, right? And you're going to have to do it in front of them. And so guess what? This is a great way to practice, right? Oh, let's see. Only one of those will give you a chance to that particular job. If you want that, do job two. Yes. Conclusion, if you're giving an interview, consider how to evaluate technical ability. If the job you are interviewing for actually involves working on deep algorithms, absolutely go ahead and test that. If your job is application development or more abstract, cut it out. Completely disagree with this statement and conclusion and his odd concession that studying algorithms will make you a better developer. I don't see how that's not a thing. I mean, my personal favorite is if the person has some sort of public, example of the work they've done, I ask them about that, and I want to know about that, and then I want to hear them go deep on what they built and why they built it, and make them go as deep as possible. I think that that's really good, and even if it's something as stupid as configuring Vim, right? I want to know what you've done, how have you read it, how did you get a part of it, how many files, is it broken up, is it well organized, is it not organized, is it one big-ass file? Like, just tell me your process. Tell me how you went deep. I want to see you've gone deep at least once. If you've gone deep once, it means you can go deep again. People that have never gone deep on something literally have never done anything, worthwhile. You know what I mean? Antagonize the interviewer. Too many people, I think you might have this incorrect. Too many people antagonize the interviewee or the interviewer. Right? Don't be a script kiddie. Don't be a script kiddie. I'm on the hiring team. I do interviews regularly for Netflix. I'm good at interviews. I like doing interviews. I like the shop talk interviews, but I also like the technical interviews. I like them both because I see them as equally valid signals. I've had people talk the talk and not able to walk the walk. I like to see people can walk the walk, and I like to see people be able to talk the talk, okay? Because here's the deal. When it comes down to coding, I want to see that you know the language that you're used to. I give people several options for the languages they want. Oh, you want to do this in C++, Rust, Go, or JavaScript? Pick one and run with it, right? And I just want to see them do something. I want to see that they know the language because when they're inside there and they can't tell you what packages to use, they can't tell you where to do it, and they're like, oh, you just look it up. What I see is someone who's never even taken the chance to become an expert at what they do, right? They're just literally script kiddies that look things up, okay? Just a feeling. Just a strong feeling. Yes, that was a Slack message. Shut up. Okay? Shut up. The name? Yes, I have Windows because that's what I stream from and record my videos on because it's significantly better, and it works also with the hardware I've purchased, which does not work on Linux and has no driver support. And no, I'm not going to write a driver just to use audio, okay? I already can't make audio work with the drivers provided, let alone attempting to write my own drivers for audio for equipment that just won't work. Like hell, I'm going to do that. You are crazy. That is just crazy, straight crazy, all the way through again.